उस देश में साधु संत आवत नहीं कोई, जल कसरी देख गीत काहू न आवन होए, काहू न आवन होए। उस देश में साधु संत। बोलिए श्री प्राणनाथ प्यारे की जय, सतगुरु महाराज की जय। We talked about the advent of Devchandraji Maharaj, the birth of Devchandraji Maharaj. And we also give reasons to why we make him a part of our discourse, why we listen to the lives of Satguru Devchandraji and his teachings and his pursuits. We talked about the prophecies and predictions about his advent in this world. Divya Brahma Purashyaha Brahma Dvaitasya Vashana Tasamika Saparama Subhaga Sundari Priya Maruddese Kule Suddhe Nrilokam Sadarishyati Chandranama Pumam Loke Harishyatya Subham Gatim. As we heard from Maheshwar Tantra, Bhagwan Lord Shivaji, Lord Mahesha tells Parvati that from the divine abode of Paramdham, the consorts of the Lord Supreme would descend into this world, and among them would be the one so dear to the Lord Supreme, and the soul would be known to the world as Devachandra. And with his prayers, penance, the whole jivas, the whole lives in this world would be liberated, because he is the one who is going to awaken them with the transcendent knowledge and cleanse their sins. As such, we are listening to the early life of Devchandraji, and as we talked about the other day, the morning shows the day, right? In Nepali it is stated, Hune biruwako chulopat, the plant that is to grow well will have a smooth leaves from its beginning. So Devchandraji Maharaj had such a religious and spiritual disposition from an early age. And let's talk about the glory of Devchandraji, because as we look into Beetak, there's a lot of discussion about it. As it is stated, Soi Sarata Pranami likhi 120 varasha, 4, 5, 6 din tab javir hove arasha. It is stated that on the 4th, 5th, and 6th day of creation, the abode of the Lord Supreme, Paramdham, would be revealed to the world. The world would know about the original abode of the Lord Supreme and his leelas and everything in between. And the whole world would be prostrating to the form that would be revealing that. सब सृष्टि चेष्टा करे होवे अखंड जाहिर धाम, जो याद नहीं अक्षर कोश सुध सबो हुई तमाम. As we talked about in the Mahakarana of creation, that the creator of multitudes of universes like this, imperishable Brahma, that we know by the name of Akshara Brahma, he is unaware of the Leelas happening in Paramdham. He had never seen the consorts of Raji Maharaj or us in Paramdham before, as he saw us today. He wanted to know what the Leelas or the sports or the pastimes of Sri Raji Maharaj with these consorts or with us look like. So, Akshara Mana Upaji Asa Dekho Dhanajiko Prema Vilasa. So, Akshara is unaware of or incognizant of the Leelas of Paramdham. So, Mahamati Laldas states here that in the 4th, 5th, and 6th day, when the whole world would know the Leelas of Paramdham or know the secrets of Paramatma's Leelas, it is something that even Akshar was unaware of. And it is stated that the 4th, 5th, and 6th day stated in Quran would be from 1638 to 1658, that's 120 years, in which the realities of Paramdham would be unraveled to the world. And the soul that brings this transcendent understanding is none other than Devchandraji Maharaj. Yah Sudha jo le aaye, the individual, the divine being who brought this understanding is none other than Ruha Allah. Ruha Allah is the soul of the Lord, consort of the Lord. And he would be bringing this transcendent understanding from the fourth sky, fourth heavenly sky. It is stated that there are four different divine places: Nasut, Malkut, Jabrut, and Lahut, according to Quran. And Nasut is nothing but this world, non-existent, perishable world. Malkut is Vaikunt. It is also stated in Vedic scriptures as Sataloka, where Lord Vishnu resides. The other one is Jabarut, that is Aksharadham in our Vedic understanding. That is where Akshar Brahma resides. And Lahut is Paramdham, the heavenly abode of the Aksharat, Sri Krishna. So that is where this divine being, the consort of Sri Raji, the dearest and the closest one, Sri Sundarbai, so Devchandraji, Satguru Sri Devchandraji, would be bringing that transcendent understanding. Tina Seti Prapata Bhai Triguna Srishti Pahichan. And with this transcendent knowledge that the whole world was awaiting for, the whole world was looking for, anticipated, would be making it available to the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and the whole world would know about Lord Supreme. So we are talking about Devchandraji, Tina Swarupa ki Beetaka Janama se lekar. So from the birth of that divine coming or divine advent of Devchandraji, Mahamati Lal Das is explaining the life of Devchandraji. So we got into a little bit details about the prophecy of the arrival of Devchandraji Maharaj. The other day we talked about how the child leelas or the childhood of Devchandraji took place, his spiritual dispositions, his devotions, his purity, and the whole Umarkot, the village where he was born, was captivated by his spiritual inclination. From an early age, he was inquisitive in his mind. He wanted to know about God. He wanted to know about the state of the world. He wanted to know about the struggles of people, why people were struggling in their daily lives. He wanted to know the answers to these questions. At the age of 11, जब बड़े वर्ष 11 माह तब मन उपजो विचार मैं कौन कहाँ से आया कहाँ मेरे घर था. He had questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? And where is the Lord Supreme that sent me here? Because as we know, right, we do not know. It is not our choice that we are born in a place we are born. It is not our choice that we have the parents that we do. It is not our choice. So Devchandraji thinks that it must be the Lord which sent him to this world. So he wants to know the original identity, the true identity of himself. He wants to know why the world was created. He wants to know where his Lord resides. So as he goes asking around the religious leaders, the priests, the older people, Puchata fire paradesha mein kahan hai Parameshwar? He wants to know, where is the Lord Supreme? Where does Lord Supreme reside? Is it heaven? Is it Vaikuntha? Is it Golok Dham? Where is it? He keeps asking these questions. And some of them say that it is Lord Vishnu who is the Lord Supreme. Some say that it is Lord Mahesha. Some say that it is the goddess Durga. Some say it is Akshara Brahma, some say that they come up with different answers. And he is told that koi kahe wah ghata ghata, he vyapaka sansar. Some say that he is everywhere. God is omnipresent. As such, he feels that the Lord Supreme must be near to me. If that is the case, if Lord is everywhere, he must be somewhere around me that I can one day eventually find. Taba janya waha nikata yahi graho mein shah. So he feels that since Lord is omnipresent, he must be around and I'll find him. So he keeps asking these questions, seemingly simple, yet no one having convincing answers to. Where is God? Why did he create this world? Why is there so much suffering in this world? What is the purpose of creation? Where did we all come from? So these are seemingly simple questions. But if you look into scriptures, both Vedic and Abrahamic, there is no clear-cut, definitive answers to these questions. Quran states that it must be Allah, the God Supreme, who knows the answers to these questions. We do not know the intention behind creation. If you look at the Vedic scriptures, even the Vedas state that God must have some reasons for creation and cannot clearly state who the Lord Supreme is. So there is a lot of confusion in regards to who the Lord Supreme is and the intention behind creation. Devchandraji is relentless in his pursuit to find answers to these questions. एक देहुरा तहाँ रहे तामे मूर्ति पिंगल श्याम आगे यहाँ विराजते दई प्रदक्षिणम षठा. He begins circumambulating around a temple of Lord Sri Krishna. He goes early in the morning, starts meditating. He has all the disposition of a true devotee, a true aspirant, whose pursuits are exemplary. Nitya ita pradakshina deve ek pohora phera dandavat karate mehnat kare tijora. He works really hard in finding answer to these questions. One day, he gets a chance to go to a bigger city with his dad. Eka bera matumeta sangha aaye hati paradesha taha dehure sadhu bahuta dekhe bicha videsha. And he becomes excited because in Umarpur, where he was born, it's a small town, it's a desert town. There is a severe scarcity of water. It says there are not that many saints, there are not that many temples, there are not that many bigger religious institutions where it was likely for him to find answers to his questions. But when he got to Kacha with his father, he realized that that would be probably the best place where he could go, stay, and reach out to these religious leaders and scholars for answers. बात तब की मन में रहे मैं जाऊं कच्छ में. So from that age on, it was when he was 11 that he got a chance to go to Kacha with his father. And from then on, 11 years, he feels like that is the best place for him in his pursuit to find answers to these questions. त्यहाँ जाके खोज करूं पाऊं परमेश्वर तिनसे. That is where he wants to go and find the Lord Supreme he's been looking for since the age of 5. With his religious dispositions, with his pursuits, with his wholehearted single-mindedness in finding answers to these questions, he is not attentive to the orders of his father. He is not as interested in his worldly affairs. He's not interested in the business that his father conducts with the king. He's not interested in the worldly matters. As such, his father is always critical of him. He wants his son to be successful as he is, or even greater, to a greater degree. He wants his son to succeed in business. He wants his son to be independent, financially independent. But Devchandraji has no interest in that whatsoever. As such, karme khatapata rahe, man mein rahe bhaira. There is a lot of discords, a lot of criticism that he receives at home from his parents. Even his relatives come and ask him why he is doing the things that he is doing, because that's not the age. He's too young to learn about religion. He's too young to pursue God. Because for a lot of people, spiritual journey should begin at the old age. But Devchandraji has a different plan, a different view of life. Because for him, it is the religious understanding that is so essential, so crucial for one to attain the happiness that we seek for from an early age. So, although there would be a lot of people trying to convince him to think otherwise, he's not backing down. Man mein rahe bairag. He's not happy with the state of the things because he wants his pursuit to continue. He wants to ask more religious leaders and scholars so that he can find answers to his questions. But Umarkot is not a right place because there are not that many saints and sages or religious institutions for him to go to. We talked about the reason why. It was because it was a desert town and there was severe scarcity of water. If we compared the situation with Haridwar, the holy place of Haridwar, where there are hundreds of thousands of religious institutions. A lot of saints and sages have established their religious institutions there because they can go to the Ganges every morning, take a bath, take a deep in, wash their clothes, and continue with their daily spiritual activities. But it is not the case with Umarkot. Dai sikhapana bahutaka karakara thake shaba ye firai jyo fire kare shamjhaveshwar. Everyone is tired. Everyone is exhausted, trying to convince Devchandra to walk away from his pursuit. But he's not. And we told the other day that when you are trying to do something that nobody else does, you receive a lot of criticisms. So we told you, if it is something that you truly believe, if it is something that you are destined to do, destined to be a part of, you should continue. You should be relentless in your pursuit, regardless of what other people say. Siddhartha Gautama would have never been Gautam Buddha, the enlightened one, Lord Gautam Buddha, had he not left his home at night in pursuit of his answers. He would be one of those kings. Probably very few of us would ever hear the name of, because there were hundreds of thousands of kings in the past around the world. They ruled their lands and left the world unnoticed. So Devchandraji Maharaj is not giving up. He is relentless. Devchandraji के मन में जाऊं कहूं विदेश तहां जाके खोज करूं कोई मोहे दे उपदेश. He's looking for some guidance in his pursuit. He wants to go to a different city, different town, different place where he is likely to find answers to his questions. पूछा त फिरे सब ठौरों कोई मुझे बतावे राह. He is looking for the path to self-realization. He is asking each and every individual he thinks who might have answers to his questions. He is asking for ways he could go to bigger towns and cities. But since his father is a renowned figure, a huge, successful businessman, nobody is willing to give these suggestions to him because they would be likely recipient of the wrath of his father. From 11 years to 17 years, Devchandraji Maharaj is in a way depressed because his pursuit is not taking any steam. He's not happy with the state of his pursuit because he has asked everyone already in Umarkot. And it is very unlikely that someone intellectual is coming to the city or coming to his village Umarkot because of the lack of water in there. It is a desert town. There is nothing happening there. It's not a happening town. So at the age of 17, he really, really wants to leave his home in pursuit of the Brahma, in pursuit of the Lord. As it turns out, he finds that the prince of Kacha was getting married to a princess of the prince of Umarkot was getting married to the princess in Kacha in one of the small country. As India was divided into multitudes of small countries and towns ruled by these kings and warlords and things of that matter. So he thought that that would be the best opportunity, that if he could go with these individuals going to bring the princess back to Umarkot, he wanted to go with these people. And he goes and asks the minister. It turns out that there were 200 horses and one cart participating in this marriage procession. Sri Devchandraji ne suni, gaye puche tina se, tina bajira ne baate kari, hum Kacha jayenge. And it turns out that what he heard was true. He goes to the minister, asks him if he can go with them. तब पूछा उन्होंने क्या सवारी तुम्हारी? So the minister asked, do you have a horse? Do you have a cart to go with us? How are you going to go with us? Devchandraji says, actually, I was looking for your assistance in that. If I could ride on one of your horses, I could go with you. तब पूछा उन्होंने क्या सवारी तुम्हारे हम संग क्यों पहुंचोगे प्यादे अशवारों. So the minister says, we are going on a horse, we don't have any space for you, and you don't have anything to ride on. If we are riding on our horses and if you're walking following us, how is it going to happen? How are you going to get to Kacha? Because it's far away from here. तब कया देवचंद्रजी हम चले आवेंगे. तब उन्होंने बरजे जीना आओ श्रृंगा हमारे. Devchandraji said, can you please take me with you? I want to come with you and get to Kacha. The minister was not ready for that. He said he declined the request of Devchandraji because he knew that Devchandraji was running away from his home for something, the reason that he is unaware of, but he knows. Because otherwise his father would take him there, or his father would ask the minister to take Devchandraji with them. It was Devchandraji's personal choice. That is the reason why the minister declines his request. तब श्री देवचंद्र जी विचारिया मैं काहे पूछूं इन्हें पीछे चला जाऊंगा अपने पापों से. Devchandra ji realized it was a mistake in his part to ask the minister in the first place. Because I am living my home in pursuit of spiritual understanding, in the pursuit of answers to my question, in pursuit of the Lord Supreme. And these guys are going on a different mission to Kutch. They do not have any religious interest. They do not have any spiritual intentions. So the intentions are not matching up. And he realizes from that moment on that when you walk on a path divergent from the world, then you are all alone. You have to set your path. You have to find your path on your own. You do not find friends when you are trying to do something novel, when you are trying to do something new. Dear Sundarsaji, that is the lesson that we all must learn. If you are doing something that everyone does, you can have many friends. But if you do something that everyone does, you do not get anywhere. Siva Khera, one of the motivational speakers in India, that's why he says, winners do not do different things, but they do the things differently than everyone else. Devchandraji, in his religious pursuit, is doing a different thing. And he knows it was stupid of him to look for assistance from the minister, for that matter. Sundarsaji, if you believe in something, if you are doing something new, do not ask for friends, do not ask for help. Nobody received it, and you will not either. You will not find the assistance that you need. You gotta set your own course. You gotta find your own path. तब श्री देवचंद्र जी विचारिया मैं काहे पूछूं इन्हें पीछे चला जाऊंगा अपने पांव से. He thinks to himself, I'll walk, I'll go to Kutch on my own, barefoot, on my own, without words, without their assistance. I'll find a way to get to Kutch on my own. So he thinks to himself that the steps of the horse, the steps or the mark of the cart would suffice for him to find the direction, because the horses would go through the desert. So there would be footprints in the stamps. So he would follow them and get to Kutch. He is anxious to some extent, but he does not have any other choice. घरों जाए के साजको राह की लेने लगे, थारी कटोरा लोहड़ा और लोटा जल के, एक निमचा कमर को और कपड़े पहिनन के, बकुचा बांध तैयार भय, खरची बांधी पिनन. So he goes home, started packing few things up, a couple of shirts, pants, a few clothes. He packs some food to cook along the way, some rice, some vegetables. He carries a cooking pan. So very limited number of things that he could carry, that he would need along the way. Because until he reaches Kutch, he needs to eat. He has collected, saved some money for his journey, because he knew from an early age that he might need his saving one day. So instead of spending it, the money that he receives from his parents, his father, his mother, he saves them. He saves it for future. So he gets ready, awaiting for his parents to walk away from him, to go somewhere else so that he could sneak out of the home. And he gets ready. ले प्रसाद पौड़ रहे पिछला दिन रया घड़ी चार वे साथा सवार भय एक करने लगे विचार कमर बांधते बांधते कसु ढील हो गई इता वे असवार चले गए एक पीछे चले जाए पिता. So as it happened that his parents were there at home, so he could not sneak out. And while packing things up, it became a little late. It started getting a little darker. As it turned out that the people in the horses, Janti, the marriage procession, had already left for Kutch. He was excited about his journey, impending journey of his spiritual pursuit. Yet he was nervous. He was only 17 years old. And he had heard stories about the dacoits, the thieves, kidnapping these kids, enslaving them. So he is scared of the impending dangers of leaving home alone in the evening. To a town he had been long time ago, but knows nothing about. He doesn't know where Kutch is located. He doesn't know the path that leads to Kutch. Yet he's ready for the journey. Devchandraji, the journey of novelty, the journey of bigger accomplishment. As I found out, as I saw in Facebook the other day, the journey of success, the road of success is always under construction. Devchandraji does not have the clarity of the direction. Initially, when we set out for a bigger goal, the destination seems a little fuzzy, a little obscure. But as we walk forward, as we move forward, the direction, the destination becomes clearer and clearer. चले अति उतावले मन में पहुँचो धाय वे असवारे प्यादे क्यों कर पहुँचे जाए यूं करते चले गए बीच पड़ी आई रात ये मुल्क रेती का ये किनसों करे बात. As he sneaked out of his home, it started getting dark. He's walking forward, not knowing if he is on the right direction. And it so turned out that the footprints of the horses was all filled with sand. The wind blows a lot in desert. So he thought that he would follow those footsteps, but as it turned out that there were none because of the wind blown heavily during that evening. So he's walking all around, not knowing if he's on the right direction, but he keeps walking. Taha chali raha na pai. He didn't find the direction, he didn't find the footprints. He's a little helpless. Bhai choran ka dor, ek doye nivaha na sake, hai in bhant ka dhawar. एक ढेर वायु धरे उठाए खड़ा करे तरफ और फिर तहाँ वायु लगे ढेर लगे और उठाए. So the wind started blowing. So all the footsteps of the horses were gone. So he thought that that was his only choice, only option, only way of getting to Kutch. And the only option was not an option anymore. Bay balak mana dahasata petami utha darad. He began fatigued He was tired. He began to have stomachache. And he was scared if there's somebody with bad intentions around. यूं करते चले जाते एक शख्स दिया दीदार. He was walking, tired, starved, thirsty, with a candle on his hand, with a lamp on his hand. He's walking forward, thinking there might be someone, a thief, a robber, who would rob me of all my possessions, who may kill me, enslave me, and do something bad with me. So he has fear in his mind. He's walking but not knowing where he is going. He is tired, exhausted, thirsty. He has stomachache, and the night could not be any worse. As he was thinking about all these things, that a thief might come, a robber might come and kill me and all these things, he saw a man coming towards him in distance. As he walks forward, that man keeps coming closer and closer and closer. ये चोर मोको मारेगा नहीं बसने का ठोर. Devchandraji thinks that the thief will kill me, and there is no way I could run away from him. Because he's already too tired, exhausted, for walking for hours. He's hungry. So he does not have any energy left, any stamina left to run away. Mera kachu na chala hai, mujhe gayi disha aur. There is nothing that I can do. I do not have any power to resist. Itane mein aaye gaya, hoye gaye mulaqat. As he was shivering in fear, that man was right next to him. देखत ही दहशत भई वह करने लगा बात. Devchandraji was so scared to see a man in the middle of the night on desert. And he had heard all those stories of people getting killed, people getting kidnapped, people getting enslaved. Devchandraji, poor Devchandraji, he was not strong because he was never into his body. He was never interested in making himself physically strong. He was always meditating. He was always looking for answers. He was never into food. So he was not strong physically. He was mentally tough, but he was still young, 17 years old, had never left home alone. That time, that night, during the night. So he was scared. As soon as that individual came closer to Devchandraji, Devchandraji was so scared. ये भेष सिपाही का कमर कटारी तलवार मुंह दाढ़ी हाथ बरछी ऐसा भेष ल्याउन हाथ. Lal Dasi gives the description of how that man looked like. He had the clothes of a soldier. He had a sword with him. He had a long mustache. He had a small knife in his hand. That is how he looked like, a strong, muscular man. मुँह से आए बचन कहे छोड़ो कमल तरवार मुँह मुदा दहशत से कछु न आया विचार. Seeing such a man in the middle of a night in desert, he could not think of anything. He stood still, not knowing what to do. He could not run away, because there is no way he could run away from such a man, a muscular man, strong-looking man, a tall man, and he is all exhausted. Devchandraji, starved because he hasn't eaten for hours. He didn't have many belongings. He didn't have many fruits or in many foods that was ready to eat. So he had all these weaknesses. So he didn't know what to do. तुरंत तलवार छोड़ के कई हाथ में श्री राज. So the small knife that Devchandraji brought to cut some vegetables and all that man asked Devchandraji to give it to him. Although he never believed that he could run away from that man, and never believed that that small knife to cut vegetables would suffice defending him from the enemies, the guy asked for it. And Devchandraji thought to himself, it is for sure that this guy is going to kill me. That was the only line of defense he had, and that was gone. तुरंत तलवार छोड़ के गए दई हाथ में श्री राज. कहा छोड़ तू गाठड़ी ये बातें देखी न काज. That man asked Devchandraji to give him all his belongings that he packed up around his waist. तब जाना मुझे मारेगा उन्होंने कहे शुकन्ना. पिछाए बिछोड़ी सुआए तब कांपने लगा. Devchandraji was certain. It was evident for Devchandraji that the guy would kill him. There was no way that he would be left alone. No. He took away the small knife he had. He took away all his belongings. So Devchandraji thought to himself, I am of no use for him now. He got all I had, and he won't spare me. Devchandraji was so nervous, so scared. Because he had never experienced such a thing before. When in our life we go through different phases of struggles, we become more mature. We begin to develop an ability to handle those difficult situations better as we age. As we grow older, we have increased level of maturity, increased level of equanimity. We can handle both happiness and suffering well. But Devchandraji is 17 years old. It is the age to have friends, play with them, think about nothing but what future holds for them. But Devchandraji is in pursuit of God, not knowing if he is in the right direction. He has heard all these bad stories, scary stories about these thieves and robbers killing people, robbing away all their belongings. So he doesn't know what is about to unfold. He is not aware of the impending future. He is so scared. The man had a towel on him. He laid it on the ground. He asked Devchandraji to lay on it. Bichhaye pichodi suaye taba kampane laga. Devchandraji started shivering even greatly. He's definitely going to kill me. बरछी हाथ पकड़ के एक साथल पर दे पार. Holding that knife, the guy stepped strongly on the thigh of Devchandraji. And Devchandraji thought, he felt helpless. The power of that man overwhelmed Devchandraji. He couldn't do anything, he couldn't move. Devchandraji thought, this is the end of my life. What a sad story. Because he was in a pursuit. He had a different goal in mind. And he finds himself underneath a big man holding a knife, pressing his leg against his thigh. a big muscular man. बोझ दिया शरीर का फिर यूं पूछो जा. And the man asked Devachandra, दर्द भया कछु हल्का? Do you feel any better? The pain that you had, did it subside a little? Devachandraji was like, what is this guy saying? I thought he was gonna kill me. He is asking whether the pain that I had in my body subsided or not. दर्द भया कछु हल्का, सूल पेट का था जोर. Devachandraji had a severe stomach ache. Sri Devachandraji उत्तर दिया कछु रहा और not knowing what to say, he said, I have pain on the other side. But he felt a little more comfortable because Devachandraji thinks that the guy is not probably going to kill him, because if he wanted to, he would have done it. फिर दूसरे जांग मूल में दई पाव खड़े रहे, बोझ दिया शरीर का इन शरीर. That man strongly stepped on the other thigh of Devachandraji. फिर पूछा क्या खबर? How you feeling now? Says that man. Sula mita akar? Is the pain on your body over? Are you feeling better? तब उठ खड़ी भई श्री देवचंद्रजी ऐसा किया विचार. Devachandraji stood. He felt fresh. He felt that all the pain on his body was gone. Devachandraji thought that at least he's not going to kill him. Now he's certain that he's not going to kill him. But he still thinks, not knowing who the man was, he still had in his mind that he might incapacitate me. He might chop up my leg, take me to his home, and enslave me for life. He may have me do all the things at his home. He still has that in his mind. पिछोड़ी कमर बंधाए कि बोझ अपनी पीठ पर. The man started carrying the belongings of Devachandra. तब जाना श्री देवचंद्र जी ये मारे नहीं क्यों कर. Devachandraji thought, for sure this man is not going to kill him. But he might बंदी खाना रख के करावे गुलाम. He may enslave me. मारने से तो बचाए, he didn't kill me. But he may have me do something. अब क्या करावे काम? What he wants from me. मिल दो यहाँ से चले, राह में अति जोर लगे, बात लौकिक पूछने कहाँ कौन तुम्हारो. The man kept asking questions to Devachandraji about who he is. What does his father do? The questions about his families, questions about his life, his interest. नाम माता का पूछा था और कुटुंब परिवार. He asked the name of his mom, his relatives. Devachandraji feels a little more comfortable by each questions. Apparently the guy seems nice. Devchandraji says, I'm from Umarkot. My mother is Matumeta, my father is a businessman. He talks about the king and how the king is ruling the land. He talks about the minister, and finally he talks about his intention of leaving his home. Devchandraji told that being that he's leaving his home in pursuit of the Brahma. He's leaving his home in pursuit of a greater good, greater goal of his, to find answers to the questions that he could not find answers to in Umarkot. यूं करते पूछते चले, पंथ करते जाए, रात रही बाकी थोड़ी सातक पहुंचे रात. Devchandraji and that man kept walking and walking and walking and walking, and a little bit of night. The night was almost over. It was getting a little brighter. each moment. And the being, the man, asked him, aren't those the people that you know? Aren't those the people that you wanted to go to Kacha with in the first place? And Devchandraji stretches a little bit and looks beyond, and he sees the people that were going for the marriage or the wedding of the prince. दई तलवार छोड़ के देखे तेरो साथ, जो पीछे फिर के देखे ही मेरा किन्ने पकड़ा था हाथ. As Devchandraji stretches and finds those are the people that he knew, and he turns around and wanted to tell the man that he came with, oh yeah, these are the people that I wanted to come with. The man disappeared. The man was not there any longer. Devchandraji felt that that man must have been someone special. वहाँ तो कछु न देखिया, कौन कहाँ गयो? Who was that man? He guided me to these people. He brought me to these people. Devchandraji had constantly been praying to the Lord to show him the path. Prabhu mohe raha dikhao. Please find me a path to get to Kutch. Because he was nervous, he was anxious, and this man came and he showed him the path. फेर के एता विचारिया, वहाँ तो कछु न देखिया, कौन कहाँ गयो यह देहकी का मेरा खावंदा किया विलाप याद करे. Devchandraji kept thinking and thinking and thinking, and eventually realized that it must have been a god in disguise. It definitely was the God that I was looking for, because it could only be God who always shows you the right path. Devchandraji instantly regretted not knowing who he was. Instead of glorifying his name, instead of offering his gratitude for taking him, pursuing him the path, he was fearful of him. He was scared of him. It was none other than the God that he was looking for in disguise. It was the Hukum Ko Swarup. The God in disguise is also known as Hukum Ko Swarup. The form that appears with the will of God, the God in disguise. He was desperate. He felt really bad of himself because he could not recognize God in disguise. Yet, he felt the solace. He felt good in a sense that the God that he was looking for was right around the corner. The God that he was looking for was not far away from him. The God that he was looking for would not be that hard to find. Dear Sundar, any goal that you have in life, regardless of how distant it may seem, if you relentlessly pursue that goal, one day you will get there. That is why it is said that nothing is impossible. And we said the other day, a quote, if you truly want something, the whole universe conspired you to achieve that thing. So Devchandraji realizes, regretfully though, that although he did not recognize God in disguise, he was closer to God than ever before. He realizes that the God that he was looking for was around him, was closer to him. It would not be impossible for him to find him, because when he needed him the most, he was there to guide him. यह तो तहकीक हुआ, धनी है मेरे हाजर, भले अब कहाँ जाएंगे, मैं खोज लेऊं इन पर. Devachandraji thought that he would definitely find him one day. Dear Sundar Saji, the journey of finding God, the journey of God realization, the journey of this transcendent understanding, the journey of the pursuit of this transcendent understanding will continue tomorrow.